Pam pam para pa para bini bini bam bam. Pam 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 pam. Vice versa. Hello and welcome. Pam 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 pam. How you doing, vice versa? How was you? Wat warten door for a few. Barabar Izzy. How you doing? Wos ist Titzach? Titzach, wos is? Sie gewähnt de Biz. So who watching on the why are Orthodox Jews living like this? I am good. Yiddish test. Always typical. What is always typical? Come on, Zugman. Jemand an der Kluden, Zugman. Bam. Wo sucht vice versa? Vice versa sucht. Sucht und geht auch klug. Weiß, dass treffen in der Buch. Shaya. Good morning. I'm not a fan of these pickup lines. Well, these pickup lines don't need a fan. Okay? They're then cool by themselves. They don't need a fan to cool them down. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay. A-okay. Sie wird bald Tag. Was du nach Plug? Wenn sie es 8 sagen bei Nacht. Toby the Dove. Yossi. Hello and welcome, Yossi. Ba-da-ba-da-da-pa. Ba-da-da-pa. Pam 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 pararimpi. By the way, just a kleine reminder, if you could hit the like button, it goes such a long way. I really do appreciate the time me get akneit. Was hab ich getan in nur dir gegeben Arbeit? But if you don't mind hitting the link, die kaufst dann Sachen auf Amazon. Lass dich kaufen the actual item. For the next 24 hours, whatever you buy, kommt darauf auf mein account. Are we gonna see a review of the music? Vice versa. It's going to be reviewing the rant from Clappy. Hello, I'm around 4 minutes at him. 8:15. Met zijn we zich veel nog them. If everything goes smooth, we will do it. CG, how are you? How was your day, CG? Alles geht's. Alles geht's. Du wirst. Freaking good eve, Viggy. Yes, alles geht. Hat aber gefragt in der Früh. Ich habe schon lange nicht gesehen, dass alles geht. Ich hoffe, alles geht mit ihm. And here you are. I appreciate. It's a pleasure. Nice. What will be with the Monroe blackout? Blackout? What am I missing? Show some support for Viggy. Alles geht. Kind ein bisschen ankloed. Alles geht sehr fein. Sommer alles geht on aisle 5. We have alles geht on aisle 5. Hab gut nicht gehört wegen der Blackouts. Izzy.
How you doing? Wrong button.
Wus noch? What a Brauch. Ich muss nach rausgehen von der Koch. Ich hab mein Joch. Ich war bis 8:15. Noch immer nur neben der Clappy situation. CG, tell me more. What's in with the Monroe blackouts? Am I missing something? Hab nicht gesehen, Kanayas. Ich hab gut nicht gesehen. Ich sehe nicht, Kashim Nayas. Sally still checking in. What about Penny G? Penny G habe ich nicht gesehen. Und Sally ist reingekommen einmal, zweimal. And she had to run. Sie ist busy, sagt sie. But again, we appreciate whoever was here for the remainder. Gang 98. How you doing? Der Oilem schläft. Oilem schläft nicht. Der Oilem ist fein. Der Oilem ist fein, Shia. Man hat sich nur Ziege geliked. Er schläft nicht. So wie der Rebes. Der schläft nicht. Er legt sich nur Ziege für 8 Schuhe nach. Er esst nicht. Er bast sie. A 5-course meal. Steht auf gut in der Früh. Einser noch Mittag. Er säumt sich nicht. Er gleich ready. 3 noch Mittag. Geht dat darf mal 2-3 Schuhe 15 Minuten dann. Sally. Izzy, es darf retten für mich hier. How you doing, Sally? Why are we watching this? Because I want to watch it. Chaim. Hello. How else would I know what's going on? All right, it's 8:16. Wo soll ich dienen? It's 8:16. All right, jetzt gehen wir noch einem Day mit Clappy. Why Orthodox Jews living like this? 42,000 views in 2 weeks.
Change your lifestyle. Today, anybody with 50 cents feel like everybody else. They don't even pay attention. One bungalow with mice and rats and snakes coming out of the toilets. Today, they're winterized homes. They're $300,000 to $600,000. They need gut jobs. You have to pay HOA fees, maintenance fees, and then the day camps, they're more expensive in the city. It's like the lifestyles are crazy. It's an epidemic.
Clappy, what's your inspiration from your last vacation?
I'm telling all my friends and relatives, go on many vacations with your spouse. Go to fancy restaurants. It's so much cheaper than therapy. Therapists, $300, 45 minutes. They have nothing to tell you. They have nothing to sell you. They don't know you. They don't even pay attention. Go on vacations. Go to Broadway shows. Go to fancy restaurants. It's the best investment. Don't bring your kids. Leave them with the babysitters. Enjoy your spouse's company.
What inspired you to say that, Clappy?
I just went on a nice vacation, and it's very important. I gotta do it more often. You gotta do it more often. Don't listen to the naysayers. Just do it.
On this episode of Kosher Money, we sit down with Clappy, an energetic Jewish hustler juggling 5 and uniquely his own. His views don't necessarily reflect those of our podcast, but they sure capture Clappy's take on the Jewish world. Buckle in. He gets passionate. Being a Jew, awesome. Managing personal finances, bred in Crown Heights. Yisrael, Izzy, Clappy, Clapman, born and bred in Crown Heights, but he has traveled the world. Before we get into it, the viral sensation, the Izzy rant. Izzy, tell us who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and we're going to get into some of your rants.
Okay, thank you so much for having me on your show. My name is Israel Clapman. My legal name is Israel Clapman. My Hebrew name is Yisrael. Growing up my whole life
It's what my father social.
in yeshiva, my Rebbe's parents and classmates called me Sroli. In the business world, I can't pronounce Sroli and Yisrael, so I just say Izzy. Many years ago, I started doing videos under the name Izzy Rant. And now my good friend Moshe Frank constantly is recording little 60-second episodes with me, and he calls me Clappy. And the last 6 months, everywhere I go, people are shouting out bus windows, airplane terminals. I just got back from Israel. My wife and I ran around the whole Israel. We're in Hebron. We're in Maras Machpelah. We're in Yerushalayim. We're in Yafo, Ben Yehuda, and everybody is screaming out, Clappy, Clappy, Clappy. They want selfies. They want autographs. It's been wild.
That's huge. I didn't know you existed until a few months ago, but when you put your name into YouTube, Izzy, Clappy, Clapman, a ton of videos over the years come up, right? I've seen you with Estroigim. I've seen you Judaica stores. I've seen you peddling all types of stuff. I would say you're a real Jewish hustler.
100% guilty of all charges. The first time I ever pulled out a video camera and started recording myself and putting it on platforms like social media, YouTube, WhatsApp channels was the day Donald Trump came down the escalator. It was June maybe, 2015, June 17th. He comes down the escalator with Melania. I watched the entire thing live, and I don't know what was going on. It was maybe just years of political opinions blowing up inside of me. I grabbed out my iPhone. I don't know if it was an iPhone 4 or 5. This is 2015. This is 10 years ago. And I just started screaming, we have to back Donald Trump. He's a real businessman. He knows how to take on world problems. He says it the way it is. And I just put it on YouTube. But the main thing is all the WhatsApp groups, like every Satmar Chassid, Bava Chassid, Lubavitcher Chassid.
Chillax. Ich feel as though he's getting ahead of himself.
Modern Orthodox Jew from the 5 towns. Everybody loved that little clip. So people were saying you have to start doing it more often. So I started doing like little YouTube videos. My YouTube numbers are very low because my sensationalism is the frum and Jewish crowd around the world. So I've had voice notes that I was in a bad mood and I screamed something on a voice note 7, 8 years ago that till today goes around the entire world, like Eretz Yisrael.
Es ist schon nicht Sache wie the entire world, echt. Weil alles ist auf dem Phone. Der Phone kann sein anywhere. Amul, in der ganze Welt, ich weiß eine Sache, because Menschen gedacht traveln. Huh? This is a joke.
I was at work where people were playing me back my voice notes. They said they got it from their brother-in-law in South Africa, and it was only a few hours later. And I meet people now all over the world. They say, you know, you're very popular in the 5 towns. You're very popular in South Africa. You're very popular in Israel. It seems like my real big popularity is the Frum and the Jewish world in general. Now, in the last few months, when this guy has me on Everyday People, ex-Everyday People, and now I started making my own Instagram channel and we tag each other. When you get 5 million views, you know it's not people in Borough Park. It's people around the entire world. And you look at the comments, most of the names do not sound Jewish. And then it's just unbelievable that it is. My messages are starting
Chaim. Entire world by him is Eretz Yisrael in Africa.
to resonate with the entire world.
And I'd love to get into that. The fact that your name is Clappy is by itself loud. Tell me about growing up. You were not a quiet child. Impossible unless something drastically changed.
So I was born in 1986. I'm born literally in Crown Heights. There's a tiny hospital nobody ever heard of called Interfaith Medical Center. I was born in Crown Heights, raised and bred in Crown Heights.
Viel wir noch kamen heraus von Crown Heights. Born and raised in Crown Heights. Kenne nur Crown Heights. Adim Crown Heights do a riesiger Loch.
Went to the local yeshiva that everybody, I mean, majority of kids in Crown Heights go to Olei Torah. It's very popular. I was there my entire life. In yeshiva, I had a little bit of a shy side to me, but like at a certain age, maybe 7, 8, 9 years old, whenever I would discuss something, all the kids in the class would come around my desk. Like I would say, like, I went to my grandmother's house and I saw a movie. We didn't have a VCR TV, nothing in our house. And I would say, like, I watched a movie, and like everybody would say, like, and I would discuss it and I would animate it. And I became very popular. I would say I am a little bit loud, guilty. And people like when I hack, like at the shul kiddush, if like I get into
Buzzer character. Hack. It's a litwische
a
word.
conversation and I have a topic, like I draw the crowds. I'm also very loud by nature. I started a shul in Crown Heights, very popular shul. It's a little shtibel. It's called the Best Center, 16 years
He's loud by nature. But then he has a shy side.
ago. So I make all the announcements. I do all the fundraising, and I do the auctioneering and the appeals. And that is my 4th year. They bring me down to a Pesach program every year, a huge Pesach program, over 1,000 people. I'm the gabbai, I'm the MC, I make the noise, I make the announcements, I delegate some little things in the program. I don't know if it's true, but there's people that say they come because I'm there. So I'm not going to take all the credit, but I'm a little part of the excitement.
You're a real draw. So we played the rant.
Just the way we looked, you're a real draw.
A little part of the excitement.
You're a real draw. So we played the rant that had 5 million views in the beginning of this episode. What do you think resonated with people, even outside the Jewish world?
Oh, you're a draw.
It is a victim.
From that rant?
Nothing I ever do is prepared. It's rough, off the cuff, and with full emotion. So I went to Israel with my wife. We were discussing.
This is usually the emissary was skimt heraus is the off the cuff. Nicht der, was mit Ziege greit, mit auf pickende Wörter.
Discussing it for months. We did not bring any of our 4 children, Kanai Nahara. We figured out a whole structure of babysitting on how to make it work. We ran around like teenagers, and we really vacationed and partied hard. And when somebody interviewed me about it, it was right when I landed. About an hour earlier, I parked my car, I got back, and I said, everybody has to just go on vacation, spend time with your spouse, enjoy each other's company, have a good time. If you don't have any money, it's cheaper than therapy, borrow money. So, of course, thousands of comments are like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. You never borrow money. Okay, everybody calm down. I don't mean to like take a home equity loan on it, but I mean like make it work. You know, therapy is a few hundred an hour. Go on vacations, go out to eat, do things fun together. And I believe everybody knows it's the truth.
Is a noisy guy. Is kein issue zu sein in draußen. But the Menschen, who schämen sich zu sein in draußen, will not connect with that.
So people are watching it.
In order to do Menschen, who say, borgen schon Geld ist for food, nicht for vacation.
Many people told me that they've gone on vacations now because of me. I have a cousin. She's married 17 years. She has 6 children. She said her husband has a policy that they do not leave for a night without the children. But he respects me. I'm not sure what exactly. I didn't know how to this fan David. Shout out to David from Flatbush. So
yeah, that's about 4,000 people, but yeah.
So anyways, she sends me this long emotional WhatsApp a few days ago, how he respects me. He watched my video. They booked a vacation to Mexico for a full week, left the kids with her in-laws, and they are rejuvenated. They feel like they got a new lease on life. Their marriage is better. I got many such phone calls.
Clappy.
Ich kann hören the argument, dass du hast auch mal, wenn Menschen gehen durch a hectic life, just to give my like breaks of the life in a vegan. I can hear that. I'm not saying this is bad, but there is a noisy guy, so man darf es nehmen mit a grain of salt.
I don't know how to tell you this, but I am one of those people married 15, 16 years. I don't think I've ever went away with my wife without the kids.
And when you finish recording today, get on the phone with a travel agent and just do it.
I heard you guys talking before. You were Fort Lauderdale, JFK. Are you guys vacationing often? Is that a vacation or?
It's funny. We're married now 13 years, and we have not gone on many vacations without the children, but recently we've gone to a few family simchas around the world, and we make it work.
Oh, Chaim, around the world. What mensen was wonen in Africa?
One of them, we took my 11-year-old son.
Da, VIGGY White competition. It is a victim.
Like, he didn't go to Israel, and in the summer, he didn't come with us on vacation. Where did we go in the summer?
His wife is here in the background.
Dat vregen zijn waar wie mee gegangen. I mean,
Well, it wasn't all that memorable, right?
Yes.
But it was
We
relaxing.
went to the Bahamas. I knew we went to some
Bahamas, yeah.
random country. Yeah, we went to the Bahamas for a couple of days in the summer. And my son was in sleepaway camp. He couldn't come, blah, blah, whatever. So we told him we'll take him to California for my nephew's wedding. So we've gone to
everybody. Weißt du, wenn man sucht Sally, alles ist für jeder Misestin, take a double look at it.
California, 2 simchas we went to in Florida. So little mini, these are like more mini 1-2 day, like, quick things. But Israel was for a full week.
You came from money growing
By the way, I read of times too.
No, not at all. I would say I grew up in a medium, lower income family. My father, Langiyar, and great and most amazing parents in the world, was a cipher. There's no money in Safras, unless you have like a big Judaica store and you also sell mezuzahs. But he like wrote Sifrei Torah.
It's the mezuzahs, huh? It's the mezuzahs that get you.
Phil and mezuzahs. I think he wrote like 30 Sifrei Torah.
Wow.
From Bereshis to Eini Kol Yisrael.
How could I be your competition when ich bin ich? It is a victim.
And, there's not a lot of money. My mother went back to nursing school later. Like, after I was about like 4 or 5 years old, she went back to nursing school. Just to give you a little dynamics, my parents got married in 1970. Okay, and I'm born in 1986. I'm the 5th of 6 children, but the 4 older than me are many, many years older. Like, my sister's over 6 years older than me.
How do you like the new competition? Somebody wants to be me. Somebody's competing for me. Gebe ich über dem ganzen Teller, the heißt Gang. Ich gebe mir über alles. Ich gebe mir über viel mal social. It is a victim.
Top of me, and then it's me and my baby sister. So it's like 2 generations in my family, the 4 older and the 2 younger. So I would say when they were growing up, it was just my father working and my mother working as a medical secretary 3 hours a day just that we could have health insurance.
Is a duplicate. Hat so lieb gehad, the PTSD. Will Smith.
It is a
Victim.
But when me and my younger sister were growing up, my mother went back to nursing school. And that was a huge, huge help financially in the family because now we were a 2-income family from a 1-income family. My mother went back to school again right after graduating. A few years later, she got a nurse practitioner license, which is very popular today. Growing up in the 90s, saying my mother's a nurse practitioner, nobody knew what I was talking about. Then 60 Minutes ran an episode on nurse practitioners, how they're becoming the newest, hottest big thing. So now more people related to it. My mother actually makes fun of nurse practitioners that Obama made them so popular to push Obamacare, because then you have more people in medicine that get paid half the price.
So you started making money, or at least mom did.
Again, my parents raised us that we were never lacking anything. The fridge was always full. The nosh cabinet was always full. They never spoke about money. They're old generation. They don't talk about money. Till today, my parents,
He is getting into the spicy parts.
in the mid 70s, they don't talk about money. It's not their thing. They don't talk about money. So we never felt like we were lacking anything. But knowing how I raise my children and how all my siblings are raising their children, a different generation, nobody was buying sneakers for $500. We weren't going on any vacations to Israel with the family. None of this existed, but we were grown up with so much love, so much positivity, always pushing us to go further. Money just...
Sally, just imagine someone making an account, VIGGY Vibe competition. The energy you're putting in, just be you. You got to live with yourself.
wasn't part of the
Zach. Hello, you doing?
equation.
Remind me if I'm wrong. Your grandparents or great-grandparents, someone...
Sally, just imagine someone walking up to you. Sally, I'm going to be your competition. Oh, what do you mean? I want to be you. Good luck.
There were big balei tzedakah on your side. Your
So
wife's
my mother grew up Her family is from the Lower East Side, and then they bought a 4-family house in Williamsburg. So her father like had a big business in the Lower East Side on Allen and Broome. It did quite well, but they lived simple. Like they literally lived in a 2-bedroom apartment that they owned their whole lives. My grandparents never moved out of there. They just rented out the other ones. They were very simple people, also never spoke about money. They would donate ambulances and they would do big things. But my grandfather that I'm named after passed away very, very young in my parents' basement over Shavuos. A lot of trauma and drama, but the business fell to the grounds and litigation, and it was that business ceased to exist.
Do you think in today's times it's easier to spot who has money, or it's just easier to spot who spends money?
So 40, 50 years.
How would you know wenn einer hat Geld? Ich verstehe nicht die question. Ich verstehe, wie will umkommen mit der question, but this is doch obviously nicht. How would you know wie viel jener hat?
Years ago, there were people that had millions of dollars that wore $5 shirts and $10 pants and didn't go on vacations. My grandfather never had a car. If they ever got a car, he would rent. They lived simple. They didn't talk about money. It was just like you did well and you gave tzedakah and you didn't change your lifestyle. Today, anybody with 50 cents is flashing money and doing everything. And then also the poor people and the middle income people are competing with the Joneses and are spending way, way, way above their means. And this is the overwhelming majority of people today. The lifestyles we're living today are not sustainable, and something drastic has to happen, and really quickly.
You think people are living in debt?
I think everybody's living in debt. People have less and less in savings, and people, to keep up with the Joneses, have made their lifestyles be like so crazy. There used to be a show on TV where like you tell the person like what your lifestyle is and what you do, and if you can make a big purchase. I'm trying to remember her name. Susie, maybe?
Susie Orman.
Susie Orman. And you get like a big red, like, you can't afford it. I would say in the Frum community today, 90% of people's luxuries, if they were to ask her, they would get a big X. Our lifestyles are just not sustainable anymore. Everybody has to have a house. Everybody has to have a vacation house, a summer home. Pesach programs are a must. When the kids get off a yeshiva break, if you don't go to Florida, you're a Nebuch case, Rachmanis case. And then there's a few other things that have to change, that have...
By the way, ich weiß nicht, sie mir weiß, but the conversation with Rot is sehr important. Very, very important. Du Menschen, was machen Geld, nur because our lifestyle is so expensive that they end up with a minus in the year. And that's just crazy. Stut sie kicken like, wow, kijk wie lucky in Zemmer. 1% von der Welt macht nicht das. 5%, let's put it that way, macht nicht das. 8 billion people. Stutzi take a double take on it and realizing wie lucky man is and nicht going crazy, lebt man way above and man is bechal nicht happy.
To be completely eradicated in the Frum community, like starting today, they have to be ended, and all the Gedolim and all the Askanim have to just end them. I can give you multiple examples.
Let's go.
Okay, for thousands of years, bar mitzvahs were always a major thing. You made a bar mitzvah, you rented a hall. 100 years ago, you rented a hall, you got a caterer, you put china, you put stemware, glassware, flatware, you had good food, you danced, you hired a band. That's been going on for hundreds of years. Bas mitzvahs for the girls never existed. It's a modern day made up phenomenon.
Not true. Because on the style, man macht es wie a bar mitzvah, but man fliegt celebrating.
Poor families in our communities, poor families are spending $10,000 on bas mitzvahs. I know people 50, 80, 100K on bas mitzvahs. This is day in, day out. Now, people are going to start saying, why are you hating on the girls? It never existed. The girls get so many things that the boys don't get. They get jewelry for every Yom Tif. They get designer clothing. They all have gym memberships to the best gyms, personal trainers. They all go to $30,000 a year seminaries. Boys have white shirts and black hats. So don't say like equal. My parents taught me in life as a little kid, we're not equal, we're fair.
Die Sache ist, redt mit ein active. Like, ich weiß nicht, wenn ist serious, wenn nicht serious. Obviously, the topic is serious. Man muss es kennen, man. Because this is running into a big hole. But just an active. It's derselbe Sache die ganze Zeit. So when you go and you come and you see.
If one kid needs braces for $10,000 and another kid has perfect teeth, you can't be fair. The kid that needs braces gets braces. The kid that has perfect teeth doesn't get braces. If one kid doesn't like going to summer camp and the other kid loves going to summer camp, send them to the best sleepaway camp where they're going to prosper and do well. Bas mitzvahs should be $300. You have the friends over, pizza on a Motzei Shabbos.
Little arts and crafts project.
Right. So all my sisters, they designed with puff paint, Nagelwasser schüssels. This bas mitzvah thing just got to end today. Over. Done.
I kind of agree.
What else?
It's nicht der Menschen, was können es afforden. It's the people that can't afford it, but they haben their lifestyle, weil was ob sei gehen es nicht dienen, geht jeder umkicken wie muss. That's the sad part.
Else? Go on. I'm enjoying this.
There's no reason why every time there's a yeshiva break for a week, you need to book 5 to 7 plane tickets, hotels a couple of $100s. Remember, it's in the winter, Florida's peak season. Then you got to go jet skiing. Then you got to go to the Bell Harbor shops, and everything there is expensive. And you got to eat out
Sadly.
3 times a day. That's thousands of dollars. What happened to the good old days? Packing into the station wagon, going to Baltimore, taking the 3 line on the Brooklyn subway stations, going to Ellis Island, going on the
Bronx,
ferry to Staten Island. There's things that are free. And the kids want love and attention and memorable experiences. I took my son last Chalamite Circus to Intrepid.
That's for you, Sally.
It was a couple of dollars to get on the train. It was a couple of dollars to get in. We looked at planes. We watched movies. We looked at historical objects.
I move like man going to the airport and watching planes herankommen, landen and aufheben, take off.
All the wars America fought in.
Everybody agrees, but that's peer pressure. In deze is man darf reden, man darf weghargen and peer pressure. Meaning man darf machen Menschen verstehen. Because the people fall for it. En stoot ze zijn like, oh wow, ich habe a gute income, aber ich habe weglegen für später. Darf nicht ausziehen, der Rubberband. The brain is so wie a Rubberband. De mehr die ziehst es aus, de größer wird es. Wie viel meinst du, das interessant, sie fuhren first? So du Kinder, was fuhren auf jetzt Roll of first class, sie sind 6. What do you think is going to excite them, wenn sie sind 12 oder 15 oder 30? It's going to have to be crazier.
You could spend an entire day there for pennies. And the kids love it. You think they like schlepping in the airports, schlepping into the hotel, checking in, checking out, schlepping there, going on this Uber, that Uber, this boat, this thing, and it's packed.
Waiting in line at the
You
restaurant.
can't get a reservation for a restaurant. You want to go to Fuego, Schwego, Bago, I don't know, whatever these things, lines are out the door. You get a table at 11 o'clock at night. It's not worth it. It's thousands of dollars. And you know what? You're doing it because your friend's doing it. You really wanted to go to Yeshiva Week to Florida? It's that much fun? Maybe once every year, but it's a status symbol.
So wie, ich habe gesagt, man nicht nur zahlt das Geld für das Limit für Education, aber gibt noch eine Midwinter Vacation, wo sie darf noch auch spenden Geld, und miss fuhren nirgends, weil jeder fuhrt. Und wenn seine Kinder kommen zurück in Geider, dann kann er Rachmunes, wo es bis gewähnen daheim. Stress is Shara Chemle, bro.
Today, if you're Syrian, you need a home in Deal, New Jersey. You know, it's tens of thousands of dollars. Today, even in Chabad or all other communities, you have to go to us. These are not bungalows anymore, where it used to be bungalows. Everybody had an opportunity to feel like everybody else.
Yep.
The billionaire and the Porsche McGaggy were in a broken down
Porsche McGaggy.
bungalow with mice and rats and
Or he has a solution. Hat nicht keine solution. But the Reden is a part from the solution.
snakes coming out of the toilets. Today, they're winterized homes. They're $300,000 to $600,000. They need gut jobs. You have to pay HOA fees, maintenance fees, and then the day camps there are more expensive in the city. It's like the lifestyles are crazy. So the people that have billion-dollar Amazon companies, God bless them, but all the people that are trying to survive in the middle and maybe save up towards having some sort.
Man darf auch realizen, as competition is a fight is on the top. Weil das meint survival. Man geht zurückziehen der survival mechanism. So als jener fuhrt zu Florida, jener hat a schöne Kar, jener fuhrt zu the country, sucht dich dann Brenner, die misst es auch hat.
Of retirement fund that makes
Sadly, but we have to talk about it. If nobody's going to talk about it, nobody's going to know. And then there's a big hole coming up.
their kids chasanas are spending all their money on peer pressure. It's an epidemic. It's a complete epidemic. We brought it upon ourselves, and we're the only ones that can stop it.
Yeah.
First of all, we do
I don't know how, but
have his diet, Dr. Pepper here. It was a request of Maine. He wanted it freezing cold, and we said we can respect that, and we delivered. I overheard a child telling a parent, Miami again, we go to Miami every year for midwinter, right?
Rich people problems.
yeah.
When I
It's
was
not even rich based on what you're saying,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'm saying rich people problems like Keilu, they're rich. So again,
Keilu, like is like slash as if. The man just marked the subtitles like Keilu. Hello, John. Yeah, what is Keilu?
I'm born in 1986. I remember we were talking about this for months. My father's very close friend made his kids chasana in Boston. Okay? We were going to go to Boston for one night. So we were going to drive in the morning, get to the hotel. It was a fancy hotel, Copley Square. I went there for memory's sake a year ago. I was in Boston. I had to go into that hotel
Hold on, he went there? Oh, it's peer pressure? What's this?
just for memory's sake 30-something years ago. Beautiful hotel. For one night in a fancy hotel, we took 2 rooms. We all shared. We brought my grandmother in the station wagon. It was crazy. All right, to go to Boston for one night. We drove there, checked into the hotel, went to the chasana in the morning. We did a little tour and got back in the car. That was like huge. We spoke about it when I was 7 years old.
But the problem is, wenn gewesen 7 haben, und ich hatte kein iPhones, man hat gut nicht gesehen, so any stimulation gewesen amazing. Und die Kinder sehen alles auf the phone, so they need bigger stimulation, mehr Dopamin hit, a größere Sache. You know, man doomstrollt, man sitzt in einer Car, 4 Menschen, Kinder, und jeder eine scrollt, und man hört Musik, jeder lebt in seiner eigenen Welt. Sag mal, du a elbow fight. But that's mainly it.
In the summer, we went to Niagara Falls for a couple of nights. My brother and my father were on the phone with AAA discussing before Waze, Google's discussing which routes we should take. Me and my sister were in the back. And the back faces the other direction. We're looking out the back window. We had games. My mother got an amazing savings. We literally stayed in...
But auch, die einzige gewesen, a bisschen unzunehmen auf der andere Seite, that was the most they had those days. Sie gehen Menschen damals sind geblieben in daheim. Und oder mir gewesen einer auf a Podcast damals, so noch ist gewesen, hat gesagt, you don't have to take all your kids in the back of the station wagon. You can leave them home. Watch this, Michigas. Every day, drive. Every yontif, go to Baltimore. See the zoo. Stay home. And it's an epidemic. I'm just being funny, but I'm sure there were people like that.
Motel 6s and Holiday Inns. And we felt like the richest, most excited kids in the world. Old station wagon, you could hear the noises from a block away. It was like Hashem Yishmer. Simple. Going...
God should protect. So they're funny. They übertatschen.
I bet you we had more fun staying in Holiday Inns, driving in an old beat-up station wagon than the kids in Range Rovers going to the first class to Miami, and they're like, oh, we're going to Miami. We enjoyed life. Simplicity. Our kids want our love and attention. They don't need first class to Miami. They don't need it. They don't need it.
We'll be right back.
Oy,
She was a
that
bird.
is
You
a
could sell for
victim.
There's 3 Eve to watch rate your wardrobe for them summer day shirts to wear infant at 27 young time. But if you're looking, lots of times those Pesach vacations
Brooklyn.
are funded by grandparents.
Hello
so
and welcome.
the person down the block thinks, oh, my friend is going. He has the same amount of money as you. He's not able to afford it either, but it's being funded or gifted by a relative. Things are not always what they seem.
So a few things about Pesach programs. First of all, I'm biased because I go to Pesach programs
I like that. I like that. He is biased.
every year. The other thing is I work on the Pesach program. So I'm the gabbai, I'm the MC. I do a lot of odds and ends, so I get a tremendous, tremendous discount. So it is true with Pesach programs. I've been told by multiple owners of huge Pesach programs that I will not mention that you
If you don't mention it, never happened.
could have a Pesach program
kidding.
between 500 and 800 people, and there's 30 credit cards swiping the entire program.
Come on. I ain't buying this. I ain't buying this.
Very rich grandparents, they bring their children, their grandchildren. One billionaire from Woodmere told my brother, I have one brother, he's 10 years older than me. I was in the conversation. We went to visit him once on the Mitzvah Shabbos, great guy. He said, you know why I take my children and grandchildren to the best Pesach programs? I'm spending their inheritance. He says, why should they get all my money?
Dit is een kranker mensch. He doesn't do it because he loves them. He does it so he can spend the money. He says, I like a shredder. Hargetech de kinder. I thought going to a program kills the kids, which I agree, but I'm just saying.
He says, I take them to the best Pesach programs.
Gotcha.
You know, so there's a big element that people want to spend time with their children and grandchildren, and they will swipe the credit card for them to come on a program. There are a lot of...
He can do whatever he wants, but we can't. Basically, was sagt, was ich verstehe, was sagt, is a dimension was found in between, was eine nicht Uram, but they're nicht rach. They fall under the peer pressure. The Mensch is meshiga successful. Can't team was will. All team. It's just the middle people.
People on Pesach programs that are working, but even people that are working that are getting a discount. To make these Pesach programs a success, for a 1,000-person Pesach program, there's about 200 staff, about 130 waiters and waitresses. The chef, the sous chef, the line chef, the pastry chef, and all of them have a team. So all these people you're seeing there, even if they're working only a few hours there, are getting tremendously discounts. Mashkiach, the senior mashkiach, and the bachrim obviously are not getting paid, but they're not paying for.
Well, what do you mean? Why is bachrim not getting paid, huh? Child labor?
Their rooms. But there's a lot of people that are getting very, very heavy discounts. The head of the boys division of the day camps, the girls divisions, the babysitting program division, then all the guest lecturers are getting discounts.
Right. It's funny that you mentioned the giving away of the inheritance, because I asked somebody, I said, your
Ich weiß einer, was is very, very wealthy. He geht weg Pesach. The reason is he has a big family and he doesn't have another place where to go, so geht at programs. But lately, food at somewhere in Florida, and I think 2-3 riesige Hase, and he does everything indoors. You know, like in-house versus going to a program.
grandmother is funding it, right? The flights and hotels and vacations and day trips. Talking about $100,000. After 4 years, you wouldn't have a mortgage if they said, you know, this is what my grandmother wants to spend it on. They don't want to necessarily.
Ze willen de geschichte eruit helpen. They'll help you out in their way. Wasting money for 8 days.
Spend it on the mortgage. But then to your point, it's interesting. She's like, I'm going to give you this money regardless. Might as well enjoy it with you on a Pesach vacation.
No, gib es for a hose. What crazy stuff is that?
100%. There's another element to Pesach programs. My wife and I, both of us work multiple jobs. We work really, really hard. It used to be that we could go to my wife's parents in London or my parents in New York. My parents now they're getting older, Baruch Hashem. They go every year to my sister. And my sister already has a lot of guests, so I don't know if that's an option anymore. My in-laws moved
Blabenheim.
to New York.
But I know he's working very hard with 2 jobs.
And they have other children. A lot of years they go to some of their children, you know, in Miami or wherever they go for Pesach.
Oh, they also go to Miami? Argument.
So the second year of COVID, when already a lot of people started going away, we didn't go anywhere because we just couldn't figure out where to go. And I'm getting back from work 8, 9 o'clock at night, schlepping up from the sub-basement, heavy boxes of kalim, and there was toivling and kashering. I'm on the video phone of my Rav, how to kasher this oven, how to kasher this stove. Is it granite? Is it other types of crazy, schwitzy hard work? Then there's all the
Schwitzy.
cooking and then also taking care of the kids. And I swore I'm not doing this again. So for me, I had to find a program, and I had to find a program that would be affordable. But for some people, staying home is not
Full circle, Chaim. Is penguins.
an option. So a lot
He's
of
also running after his tail.
people, though, use vacation money on going to an affordable Pesach program. But again, there's Pesach programs that are $30,000 a room. There was a Croatia Pesach program that a lot of people went to this year. They said it was $6,000 a room. $6,000 a room. There's people that go and they stoop their kids on like folding beds. And then plane tickets, so it's $10,000. And staying at home would have only been $5,000. If they use $5,000 as vacation money, it is a lot of them are much more affordable than people think.
What
So
else?
it is affordable or not affordable? But I do get his point. Ich weiß, ich mach da fun, but his point about the middle class. Man harget weg the middle class from peer pressure. Wenn ich wegen wo ein Freund macht $2 million, dann sage ich, oi, hab ich Rachmonas auf ihm. Oi, hab ich Rachmonas. Seht, wie Urem ist.
Have you ranted about over the years that has turned the head?
Another thing that got multiple million views, but also I would say was like probably seen by every Jewish person in the world. I made a
Every Jewish person in the world. That's
video about donuts this year. When I was a kid growing up, you went to Friedman's. They closed down, but it was near and then there was the Koval store. Those were like the cheap, huge grocery stores in Borough Park. Donuts were 3 for $1. Sometimes they were 5 for $1. I'm saying it's under oath.
Du, wat ich hab es auch nicht gesehen. Aber ich hab gesehen der B&H one.
5 for $1. It was either the chocolate or the white chocolate or the black chocolate or the custard ones or the jelly ones. Those 4 select variables. Okay. Today, every year, Hanukkah, the donuts get more and more and more and more expensive. Today, the cheap donuts are like $3, $4 a piece. And then there's donuts that are like $7, $8, $9.
Ja, zo.
So I had a video this year about a $10 donut. I went into a delicatessen, like late Thursday night. My wife said she's cooking for Shabbos, just buy a dinner. I was going to get a burger or a
Wait, he is buying outdoors also? What's happening?
chicken schnitzel sandwich or whatever. And I'm looking into the display case and I saw a donut and it said $10. So I was like, I asked the manager, I was like, it's a printing mistake or it's for real? There's no, it's a $10 donut. And I'm like, why? He says, we lose money on every single donut we sell. We have special jams we have to import from Italy. And the chocolate is Dubai chocolate. Oh, I never heard of this. And then he's like, you know how many crushed pistachios are on the
So why bring it in? Bring it to Sharan.
top? And pistachios cost like $14 a pound. So we lose a couple of dollars for every donut. So the next morning, my
Hershey's.
friend's
Serious
like,
nefesh. Wow.
so the next morning, I went on the video. The guy was interviewing me. He says, what do I know about? I was talking about how crazy the donut pricing is. And that thing blew up. It went on like on 1 million WhatsApp groups. And people till today are not sure if I was being sarcastic or real when I said the
Wenn er sucht an Million WhatsApp-Groups, redt er wieder von 6 Menschen. Hat schon mal gesehen, die chassidische WhatsApp-Groups? Es du hinderte WhatsApp-Groups. Jede Family hat WhatsApp-Groups mit jeder zusammen, plus jeder zusammen und der ein Bruder, jeder zusammen und der ein Schwester, noch dem just the kids, und noch dem just the Meidlich, just the Schwugers, just the Mechatunam, alle Mechatunam gits Yankee, alle Mechatunam gits Moishi, Moishi hat eine andere, this is just families. So basically, it's not going viral. At all.
chesed
I'm kidding. I'm being funny.
of the stores that are compensating donuts. They're losing money on every donut. I don't know. I don't know if
Hava Java's Donuts at like $8. Ich weiß einer, was arbeitet dort, hat gearbeitet dort. Und ich frage ihn, wir können so viel nicht essen. Sogt er aus, es ist gemacht worden zu essen. So I'm like, what do you mean? Sagt er, es ist mehr gemacht worden zu bringen zu einem Mensch, to show appreciation. So then I asked him if it was made out of plastic.
they lost money or they made money. But the idea that people are ready to spend $10 a donut is like another one of those another one of those epidemics that fell on the Jewish community where we have no control of where our money is going, that people are happy to spend $10 on a donut.
Tell me about your work, right? You say that you
But you can't even eat it, sadly. Man kann es so viel nicht essen. It's not the 15,000 calories. You can't even eat it. Your mouth doesn't open that much. Was du a donut, nachdem du etwas inneweinig, nachdem du a Lego, plus a car, plus a dreidel, plus a hat, plus a bowl, like a chocolate bowl, and also groß. You can't even, your mouth doesn't even open. So, im ersten ich kann donut mit der Hand. So, plus, yeah, that little hat.
you're working multiple jobs, your wife's working multiple jobs. I think that's very respectable, meaning there are people
It's respectable. They don't have a choice. Rent is $8,600 for a bedroom.
that have a salary, they work hard, they look to grow within a very specific
En ook zo zeggen, mensen zoeken me arbeidsschwer. Niet jeder arbeidsschwer. Like ze zeggen, arbeidsschwer. No, he has a job. Maybe his job is toiling his fingers. That's not hard.
industry, but for them to take on something else would almost be like, hey, he's not making it in a specific job. You sort of have that mentality, roll up your sleeves, I'll do whatever it takes. Where does that come from?
I don't know exactly where it comes from, but I know that I don't want to be a chesed case and I want to live a good life. I don't want my children to be lacking anything. I don't want my wife to be lacking anything. So my 9-to-5 job, I work in regular electronics. I work in inbound sales for a big
B&H.
Fortune 500 company. And there's only a limited amount of money you can make in a 9-to-5 job. You know, they're not giving me ownership. They're not giving me partnership. And I realized that life is very expensive. So over the years,
Deze darf ook het redden. Weil jeder einer nimmt daraus mortgages, jeder einer raised de Preisen. How come es auch, wenn jeden gehen an einer Area geht darauf der Preis? Huh?
do a lot of things to make supplemental income. First of all, I've been selling esrogim every year for like the last maybe 10 years.
What's the name of the Esther company?
Izzy's esrogim. So
Like, what's the name of a srogim? Who needs the name? I mean,
I do a very
it doesn't usually work that way.
simple. I have suppliers. I have all types of situations going on. And I use my mother's living room tables.
I thought you were going to say her credit card, but yeah.
So my mother lives very centrally in Crown Heights. I put up a huge banner. I forget to take it down. It's Operation Sukkot. That people know where it is. And I sell beautiful esrogim.
Sikkes, Festival of Boots. It's the festival of boots.
Crown Heights.
And we shuckle the fruits.
Slobavitcher is used mostly Janover, Italian, Esroigim. And of course, Esroigim, we do Lovim, Hadass.
Komt erop lower met de prijs, oder upcharged ook het?
Sim, Aravis, different levels. We have Esroigim sets for 30, 40, 50, and they go to multiple $100 for good.
Schreit of the donuts, but yet doen ze maar een ganz na Gevreman doen met de prijzen.
Oy, it is a victim.
Cassettes. So that's very busy, but that's a couple of weeks a year. But I do believe roll up your sleeve, deliver pizza, do anything, roll cotton candies, do anything to make money. There's this guy that has this show, Dave Ramsey.
But they're doing it already. People are to their max. So I'm not sure. Weiß ich mein?
Ramsey, I pronounced it right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dave Ramsey, a guy was calling up saying that he's short like a couple of $100 a month and he can't pay his bills. He says, what do you do in the evenings? He's like, I watch TV. He says, you better start delivering pizza for Domino's. They're paying a couple of dollars an hour and people give tips. You will make a couple of $100 a month. It's below your dignity to deliver pizza. Why? You say you don't have the money. Go make the money. I heard this many, many years ago, and it changed my way of thinking. Your family comes first. Your pride comes second. Do anything to make money. And then a couple of years ago, I got into the...
In this is the problem with this strategy, as in them get managed kind of education, because they know that people are going to stretch thin to cover for the family. So, man darf nicht. Man darf gut nicht geben.
art business. That's a whole long conversation for itself. So today, on any given day, I'm very busy.
And by the way, nicht jeder einer kann hustlen all the time, 24. Se du Menschen, was kennen nicht. Die Sache ist, man kennt nicht jeder. Nicht jeder hat dieselbe mental capacity, nicht jeder einer hat dieselbe stamina. Du Menschen, was davon resten, sag mehr wie andere. So du, wir sind durchgegangen, sag andere upbringings, and they can't perform. I feel it's a sound, just geba machatia. Doesn't work that way.
With my 9-to-5 job, I give it my all. You know, my boss is paying my salary. He deserves every minute of my time that I'm being paid for. But every extra minute, I'm busy with my art, Judaic and antiques business. And then Sukkot, I'm very busy with my Esroigim business. And if other things come up throughout the year that I can make money, I've done it.
Nothing will change anyways. Nicht mit der attitude, Brooklyn. But man darf reden davon. Weil, vieles hat changed ein Mensch. In der ein Mensch ist hat sich gelohnt die ganze Show. And next year, that is going to program. You know what I mean? It helped.
Years ago, a guy printed a really, really fancy chumash, just on Voracious. It's Genesis with a slipcase and a Navi booklet that goes.
Oh, this make man ja, this can man ja upchargen also wie the donuts?
Was with it. He gave me an insane deal. I was plastering all day long on groups that I sell this chumash. It had to be a couple of dollars cheaper than Amazon. That was my main competitor. And people were calling me in California. They're like, could I get one of those chumashim? And I was running to the post office on Fridays telling them that I'm delayed, but really it was like, I'm busy during the week. I was running to the post office.
They mean a Chitzpe, nicht dass Menschen haben. Menschen kommen nun to the post office and sagen, you're late. And they say, yeah, I'm not late. Okay, we can't send it. Had a Chitzpe.
With boxes full every Friday. Another guy came over to me on the street and he told me I have this bencher set. It's like Chabad Nusach bencher set. Plastic, and it's really beautiful. I haven't been able to get any for a while, but I was running to the post office every Friday, and Sunday's closed. I was going to private shipping stores that I was able to get out orders, selling bencher sets. I'll do anything to make $1. Honest, fair. I treat my...
How is he honest? Again, ich wusste am sagen, als wenn der Mensch in the post office fragt him a question and antwortet verkehrt. That's not honesty. I'm not saying he's lying, and I'm not saying he should stop, but honesty is auch a Strick. Wie bist du honest?
Customers right. I want that.
Sad had a deep breath. Crack those knuckles. Okay? Deep breath.
Every single customer that ever...
And hit the like button. Now, hit the like button. It goes such a long way. I really do appreciate you all.
...has done business with me in my life should only say positive things about me and be repeat customers. When people call me about expensive art that I sell and Judaic and antiques, I always tell them, if they're arguing with me about price or they're asking me about, I always tell them, I don't want to make quick money on one deal. I want to make money on return customers. I would say my return rate for a Sroigim or my Judaica business, my return rate's probably over 90%. People come back. You're honest with them. And when they say, "Could you do better on the price?" I tell them, sometimes I say I could, sometimes I say I can't. Sometimes if I'm only making $100 on a deal, I say I can't do any better. I don't answer my phone for free. If there's a transaction happening, I'm not here to make $10. Not a secret that I'm here to make money, but I give the best customer service and I want return customers and referrals. There's no money in the world that could buy you a good referral. A good referral comes from treating the customers right.
When we first got married, there was this girl Kiriv organization that asked people to drop off their used but gently used clothing.
They use butts. Sleep.
Girl Kiriv organization that asked people to drop off their used but gently used clothing. And what my wife and I did was sell that clothing on eBay, and the organization would give us 50% of the sale, and then they would keep 50%. We made thousands and thousands of dollars putting that together. Because if you think about it, yeah, now there's some drop-offs and different things like that, but ask anyone if they have any old clothing that's brand name or just good condition, not a brand name. People buy that, right? Go on eBay, enter anything in there. It's there. So there's no cost outside of the shipping and putting it up on eBay. And there's
Sadly, is it this bad?
real money to be made.
eBay is huge. I don't want to give away all my trade secrets. People say, "Oh, Amazon, eBay's out of business." eBay is huge. And I don't work in cars anymore, but they say for used car parts, eBay is the king till today, much more than Amazon.
Amazon verkauft nicht kein cars.
But I will tell you, I find treasures on eBay every single day. In my Judaic and antiques business, there's certain names, key names and items that I look for. It's very normal for me 5, 6 o'clock in the morning while I'm drinking my coffee and watching my kids to check eBay for popular items that keep coming up. And you can make counter offers. I make counter offers every day on eBay, and they respond. And a lot of people accept a counter offer, but it's a game. You make a counter offer that's crazy to get them to counter offer you a number that you know they're going to give you that you're going to be happy and still be able to make money. And eBay backs you. I bought a painting recently for a really good price. I made good money on it. The glass on the frame came cracked. I brought it to a gallery. They said it was $40. The owner messaged me twice when I told her it came cracked. She said, "I want to reimburse you. Please let me know what it is." I find eBay to be a very solid place to do business. So, but yeah, what you were saying, chesed organizations
I bought my shoes by eBay.
can make tons of money by taking items. The Lubavitch Rebbe used to get between like 400 and 1,000 letters a day from all over the world. They used to tear off the corner of every stamp, and there was a famous stamp collector that did a business for Parnassa in Crown Heights. He sold stamps and antique stamps, and I heard he used to get all those stamps and then sell them, and then he would split the money with Merkis, the Chabad umbrella organization. I read it somewhere recently. So yeah, organizations can make a lot of money with people donating items that can then be flipped, and then you do 50-50 or 49-51, whatever the Rav tells you. But it's very honest.
So people listening are salivating, right? They're driving to their 9 to 5. They might be 21 years old, single, just got married, and they're looking for side hustles. If you had unlimited amount of time, which you don't, but what opportunities out there do you see for people to make money that you would do
Is that business advisor?
if you had the time?
Unlimited amounts of opportunity. Unlimited amounts of opportunity. A lot of guys at work cry to me poverty, and I don't want to be mean to them. I'm nice to everybody, you know. We're all Hashem's beautiful children, but they're not ready to roll up their sleeves. I'll give you an example. My wife orders so frequently fancy desserts for Shabbos. Cheesecake.
What was that? What was that?
I'll give you an example. My wife orders so frequently fancy desserts for
I
Shabbos.
hope I didn't put my foot in my mouth.
Cheesecakes, buns, and all these delicious crusts and pies. And, these people have good hustles going on. Some of these people employ
What do you mean? He works so hard. Arbeitet so schwer, verkauft Sachen auf eBay, läuft mit der Sorge, wenn er pischt aus der Geld. On cheesecakes?
full-time workers, multiple freezers and refrigerators. The markup is at least 100%, if not 200%. If they charge you $80 for it, I don't know, an 8-inch cheesecake, they always tell me how expensive the products are. Come on, let's be real. They're paying $20, $30. Even that, maybe not. They're going to. What I'm saying is there's major money. You can start cutting up beautiful fruit platters. There's a guy that has a sourdough business in Crown Heights. He's sold out every single week. A sourdough challah was like $20. Not a roast. A challah. Sourdough breads. People make sourdough bagels. And also the service industry is huge. You buy 5 or 6 speakers. You get an MP3 player. You can go to bar mitzvahs and do DJing. You could do photography at bar mitzvahs, bas mitzvahs. The bas mitzvah business that we're trying to.
Also, you can build a building. You buy a property, throw down the house, you put one brick on top of the other, and boom, you have a building. And if you make a little other rooms, you can sell. You could sell rooms, you could rent out rooms. It's amazing.
Out of business, but there are people, party planners. There's some very, very big party planners that charge $5,000 to answer your phone call. My wife made beautiful simchas in our family, upsharons. She ordered everything on
I told you I got my foot in the mouth.
Amazon and eBay. She knew how to design it.
I didn't know I did it. I got it that deep.
Knew what to order. You could have beautiful, displays and paper goods and background drops. You could do it for cheap. So if you offer a beautiful service for $500 instead of $5,000.
But isn't that interesting that he's saying that we should make service business? Sie können chargen andere Menschen Geld, so andere Menschen können pischen Geld. Und noch soll kommen auf a Podcast sagen, als man soll nicht pischen Geld.
It will be a good 10 hours of work, but you're getting big bucks. Side hustles are huge.
We're
I can think of
almost
another
done.
20 opportunities that are not being tapped into. Meat boards. Okay, there's some fancy delicatessen stores doing meat boards. Meat boards are huge. For every Shabbos, Shalom Zacher, people
Yeah, but at the beginning of this podcast hat geschrien am spend Geld. Und du sucht Menschen sollen machen die Sachen, wo sie können schreien.
sending meat boards, bris, meat boards, pidyon ben meat boards. You can figure out a way to make cheap meat boards, get a local guy, give you a hechsher, whatever the requirements are. It doesn't have to be the fanciest hechsher, but you could do that. All you need to start up is what, like...
So because they van, they Spanish it. Oh, I do roofing, I do tile, I do sheetrock, I do plumbing. What about sewing? I do sewing.
A big refrigerator, you plug it on your top porch. I have an extra fridge and freezer for my Yisrael to put the hadassim inside of it. I always say to myself, the fridge is empty all year. What could I throw out of that fridge? Not only that, you could start a side hustle for some fancy item, some fancy ice pop, infused ice pop for $6 an ice pop. I could just give people the combination to my porch, take it out of the freezer, cash out.
That's very weird. Also will verkaufen $6 Popsicles, weil hat gesucht 20 Minuten zurück, aber verkauft Donuts für $5 a donut. That's like smacking yourself in the back of the head and going, stop hitting me. And keep smacking. What's this?
I could send them an invoice. You could do TikTok. There's so many opportunities. But the majority of people, they come home from work, they're tired, they're overwhelmed. They don't want to put in the work.
They're tired and they're overwhelmed. There you go. Deswegen the terrets. If they wouldn't be tired, they wouldn't be overwhelmed, they would be doing side hustles.
Say that power washing. There's so many houses with dirty sidewalks. All you need is a power washer and your car.
It doesn't work. You cannot have a power washer because if you power wash, you break something, you don't have insurance. Papa. So now you need to make insurance of a company. So you have to open up a LLC. It does. Yes, when you're 17, 18 years old, you can take chances like that because you don't really have a company. And if you start power washing, you make money, you could invest it because you're living by tati and mommy. En ook hast du insurance and slowly growing the business. En ook dem kaufen popsicles bij een van $1.
Just put it into your car. You can go from house to house giving quotes. With AI now, you can just look at houses on Google Maps and automate the offer. And before and after using AI, so somebody had this image of what their house looks like now, the sidewalk, and then AI, what it would look like afterwards. And you just, there's so many on the service-based side that you...
Zoekt beide zaten van de problem. Brengt daarover de problem, maar spend zich geld. In de andere zaak zoekt als je kan geld, make the problem bigger by create something that people can spend money.
You can do, but I'm sure you have a anti-meat board rant, right? Because people are spending crazy amounts of money on $20 sourdoughs.
So there's my opinion, and then there's the real world, and how we want to change things and meet somewhere in the middle. The meat board industry has been going on for years. The sushi, when sushi platter started, first of all, when I was a kid, I heard sushi is raw fish and it's disgusting, and they get them don't eat it. So until I was 14 years old, when I would hear the word sushi, I'd be like, when I passed by a sushi store on Coney Island Avenue, I'd be like, oh, that's the place we don't go into. Okay, so I remember when this pizza shop next to my high school opened up, it was called the Kretschmer, so he hired a guy to roll sushi. So for $4, he got an avocado roll. So I remember my friends were all telling me, you have to try it out. I remember my mother gave me $4. I was like 14 years old, and I got an avocado roll. And the guy rolled it, and then my friend said, you take the chopsticks. I kept dropping it. I didn't know how to hold the sushi or the chopstick. And then you have to dip the harissa, the wasabi, then you have to dip it into the mara, and then you dip it into the soy sauce. And I ate it, and I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing in the whole world. So I love sushi. So I remember years ago, the joke was, people are splurging and flexing in Lakewood and Palms River. They're sending for every event a sushi platter. Halavai. The sushi platters are like $100 for a big one. They have sushi platters for like 50, 60.
What is he saying?
But now it's meat boards. I went to a Shalom Zacher about 7 months ago, a guy in the music industry, I'm not going to say his name, in Crown Heights, a friend of mine. He had a meat board that went across the entire table. It must have been $600 or $700. Here's the joke. It was almost...
What was that?
I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing in the whole world. I love sushi. So I remember years ago, the joke was, people are splurging and flexing in Lakewood and Palms River. They're sending for every event a sushi platter. Halavai. The sushi platters are like $100 for a big one. They have sushi platters for like 50, 60. But now it's meat boards. I went to a Shalom Zacher about 7 months ago, a guy in the music industry, I'm not going to say his name, in Crown Heights, a friend of mine. He had a meat board that went across the entire table. It must have been $600 or $700. Here's the joke. It was almost midnight, and nobody opened it yet. Nobody wanted to be the Cheverman to rip it open. I ripped that thing open. The second I ripped it open, forks were flying from every
geht das sich kaufen, weil du alle mesters.
direction. I said, no, I'm the cool guy. I opened it. I get the steak. I like the part of the bone near, the part of the steak near the bone, all the good meat around it. I was carving over there, whatever. The next day in shul, a guy was like, I was waiting for you. I was waiting for somebody to open that meat platter. So I was like the cool guy that opened the meat platter. But it's happening, and there's probably a lot of money. Again, there's so many opportunities for people.
Das ist so funny. Says, ja, du Geld, das ist nicht, du kann Geld.
I told a guy, you can't compete with Eichlers. You can't compete. You can't sell every item, from Art Scroll for $10 or something for $13 because they sell thousands a day. But you find one specialty item that people are going to buy. I'll give you an example. I don't think he's well. I don't think he does it anymore. There was a guy in 770 for years that had a locker in 770, the main shul in Crown Heights, 770, had a locker with silk gartels. And he's always advertised that he has the best deal on silk gartels, and it has a nice, beautiful, velvet pouch. And, let's say the Judaica store charged $150, he charged $105. And I remember when I got engaged, my brother-in-law my wife's here, her older brother Shmuley, he said that I took care of with that guy. You could pick up the gartel. And I remember going to the locker to meet the guy, and he was showing me these thicker gartels or these thinner gartels. And he said, well, don't worry, Shmuley will pay me whatever it is. But this guy had a whole gartel business. I don't know if he sold one gartel a day or one gartel a week. I don't know. He's an older guy. Now I heard he's not well. I don't think he does it anymore. But the point is that, is there anybody selling the gartels in the lockers in 770 today? I don't think so.
Ze arbeidt nicht so. Oh, jeez.
And you could be more competitive because the guy that has a farm store has to have 10 workers and he has to pay rent and he has to pay insurance. In a way, I feel bad for the stores that they're competing with the guy, that has a little hustle on the side that's able to be more competitive. But at the end of the day, I'm a capitalist no matter what. If it hurts me or if it doesn't benefit me, I'm a capitalist. Anybody should be able to go into any industry unregulated. I actually think it's a major chutzpah that liquor is so hard to get a liquor license in New York. And in Israel, they sell liquor in the shoe store. I mean, if you're carding the person and you're paying taxes and you're filing properly and you're incorporated, whatever the rules are, everybody has to play by the rules. But it has to be equal opportunity. Anybody should be able to sell liquor, in my opinion. Because, I don't know, again, why not? It's capitalism. Why shouldn't everybody be able to sell liquor?
We'll be right back to this.
We'll be right back.
Right. And
listen, the topic is not this topic. The previous one, as mentioned, living above their means, is a real pandemic. Is a real, is a real problem. But now he's going back that create more of the problem.
Sometimes people say, listen, it is what it is. It is a lot of money, but it's, I say, our best use of money. But it's only going up like everything else. But because there are real fees, right? You have building fees, you have dinner fees, you have security guard fees. It's going up maybe a little bit more relative to other things. Maybe not the cost of eggs these days. But do you see that as sustainable, or people just have to figure out where to get that money from when it comes to their budget?
So I had 38 years to think of this question, and I have the answer was waiting at the tip of my tongue my whole life. You can't have your cake and eat it. If you're a community school, schlepping donations out of everybody, telling everybody that you're raising their children, then any child in that community has to be accepted. On the other hand, every single person has to be able to pay as much as they're able to afford. There's halachas and shulchan aruch. The same as there's halachas about shmur matzah or about how to make matzah if it's not shmur matzah, and about a sreigen, there's a shulchan aruch. Shulchan aruch says that educating the children in a community, and today it applies to girls even more than boys. Years ago, the girls stayed at home. They learned how to bake challah, and all the halachas that apply to them from their mother. Today, the girls are all being educated. They need the best Jewish education as much as the boys, or even more. And the community's responsibility is to educate everybody, give them the best education possible. So if it really costs $22,000...
Oh, they're definitely failing.
...to educate a child, any parent that could afford to pay $22,000 must be forced to pay it. If the parent cannot afford to pay it and they're a community school, they have to get people in the community to make up the difference. Halachically, in Shulchan Aruch, if you have 5 children, 10 children, or you're a 90-year-old lady and has 0 children, you all have to pay for the education in the community. It's a straight in Shulchan Aruch. Now, schools that charge $60,000, $70,000, that's like a Harvard. That's like a major luxury. I don't think a poor family, has to send their kid to a $60,000 or $70,000 school the same way they could drive a Honda Civics and not drive a Phantom Rolls Royce. But every child has to get the best Jewish education. It's the community's responsibility. And if you can't afford it, the community has to pay the difference. If you could afford $3,000 a year,
Penny. Hello and welcome.
Or $6,000 a year, then the community, the masak, the community's obligation is to educate all the children. I think Satmar is doing this with tremendous success. In Satmar, I'm not going to say the names because they didn't pay me to say their names. You pass by huge buildings in Borough Park, Williamsburg, KJ, everywhere they live, you see the same fancy 3-4 names. You all know who they are. And I was told in Satmar, if you have 10 children, you're not stressed about the education. They get...
Not true. Not true. That's not true whatsoever.
2050.
Finish kasach gel because the Fortune 500 babysitting service, can beten billiger.
All their kids go to sleepaway camps. It's not a luxury. They somehow make it affordable. Satmar is all about the...
Bro. Oh, man. En nog gaan we naar Satmar camp. Sleepaway camp? Sleepaway sardines camp, maybe.
Oh, not here to scream and yell all the praises of Satmar, but they do certain things really well, and God bless them. Both factions of Satmar. Aaron Zalman, they're doing it.
Both factions. That's dezelfde zaak. Both factions. Like, einer is me. Oh, jeez.
Great job that they take care of their own really well.
Tell me about your tuition. I know you mentioned your second child.
So Baruch Hashem Kananahar, we have 4 children. My first child goes to a yeshiva in Crown Heights, and we try to pay as much tuition as possible, whatever we make up with the board. But I make it a
Oh, he's trying to pay as much as possible. Borgt
responsibility to pay them, but it costs a lot of money to educate the children. My second son, Baruch Hashem, he's on the spectrum. He has autism, a beautiful, gorgeous son, Yitzi, and he's getting a lot of government funding. He goes to a private school. It costs hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. He gets a lot of after-school services, but we add a lot of luxuries into his life that cost us a lot of money. And our third son is in a preschool, and our baby, we have a full-time housekeeper, just that we could both work and raise the children. He's going to go to preschool next year as well.
They have a housekeeper so they can both work, so they can raise the kids. Wen reist das? Noch arbeiten? Fahren arbeiten?
Tuition is a big money eater in our lifestyle, in our family, and I love paying tuition as much as I could because the best spent dollars, giving your kids a good Jewish education.
Beautiful. Well said. There are those that, at least in the beginning, they get some sort of break, but then they get very comfortable where, I think the message you're giving and that others have given is that if you could pay full, you really should.
I think every husband and wife have to look themselves in the eye and say that our children's tuition comes way before jewelry, comes before a fancy car, comes before maybe getting a 7th or 8th sheitel. Again, I don't wear a sheitel, so I don't really have an opinion, but there are luxuries that are going to have to be sacrificed.
Your beard is real?
Never in my life touched my beard. A lot of Chabad people, we hold like the Tzemach Tzedek, he's the Pesach, and he holds it, you're not allowed to shave or trim. But,
so you never even cut it?
Never in my life. Every strand is from when I was born. Never touched.
How come it's not so long?
I think people that shave or trim, they grow much longer beards. This is
interesting.
Untouched. I think by nature, some people have longer beards. Never.
You were ordained a rabbi, right?
Like most Chabad boys, we went to a program where we get smicha. We stay in yeshiva longer. We learn all the parts of Shulchan Aruch, and you're there to get smicha.
Deze moeder diktakas, I give him smicha.
For Rabbanos.
Wow, you're very multifaceted. I mean, I can see where your rants are coming from, right? It's not just a guy stuck in a Chabad closet, and they let you out once a week. You've been around the world. You've been to Vancouver.
I spent the year in yeshiva in Vancouver for shlichus. After you finish base medrash, you go 1 year around the world. So some of the bachrim go to
Around the world. He went to Africa.
the older bachrim in yeshivas. That the Rebbe started that in the 60s. That a lot of the bachrim shluchim, they go to be like the role models in yeshiva. So a lot of Chabad yeshivas around the world is the shluchim bachrim. They're there to learn with the younger bachrim, to make an atmosphere in the community, to bring people into learning. They're in charge of all the outreach programs in the yeshiva. It's a very successful program going on for about 60 years. And then sometimes you are the yeshiva. You get sent to a community as a group of like 10, 15 bachrim, and you have a Rosh Yeshiva, you get a curriculum, and then you also do like the Miftzayim, the outreach work in the community. So we did the Hanukkah Miftzayim parades. We gave out the Shmur Matzah for Pesach. We had long lists from the rabbi there. I worked, the Shliach to Vancouver, Rabbi Weinberg. Him and his Rebbe, so they went out in the early 70s. The Rebbe sent them to Vancouver. So I remember before Pesach, I went for days. I did the model matzah bakery there. We had thousands of Jewish kids in the whole Vancouver. We would do model matzah bakeries in their Chabad house from literally morning till night. We literally didn't have time to have lunch. I would wake up in the morning and like bus loads of kids from the whole Vancouver would come and we would do a model matzah bakery. Fridays I had a Miftzayim route where we used to go give out Shabbos candles and put on phone with people in downtown Vancouver. It was right near the stadium where the Vancouver Canucks. I met
Daddy has money, huh? It's always the answer.
I think his name was Trevor Linden. I remember I was 20 years old. The guy told me he's a famous hockey guy. I took a picture with him and I got his autograph. I came back to the Chabad house. I told everybody about it. I was like the hero for the rest of the year.
You're probably an awesome "did you put on tefillin today" guy. Because you have the personality, standing on the corner. You could probably reel in a lot of people.
I feel very, very guilty because when I was going on Fridays on my route to Manhattan, I went to some very prestigious buildings. I used to put on phone with people. I would give out matzah. I would make Purim party, give out Hanukkah menorahs. I was actually pretty good at it, but then I didn't choose that career. But in Chabad, they're like, guilty. You should be doing it on every lunch break. You should be setting up tables in Manhattan. You should be.
Yeah, he should do it. He should do it. And also sell $8 ice cream.
Do more.
How do the shluchim that go to these foreign locations, how do they do it? Just in terms of loneliness, parnassa. And I'm not talking about exotic locations that, if you don't have money, at least you have nice weather.
It's so funny you mention it. So when we were in Vancouver, there was an Israeli bacher with us. I never met him in real. I didn't really know him before Vancouver. His name was Yisrael Kozlovsky. We're both Yisrael. And in Vancouver, he was like the funniest guy. Everybody loved him. He was charismatic. He was hyper. He was always standing on the porch smoking and drinking coffee on 3 phone calls at the same time. He knew how to drive stick shift. I remember we were driving once to Oregon for Shabbos to the Shliach, and he was driving shift and smoking and drinking. It was like he was like a wild guy. He is the Shliach in Mumbai today with his wife and a bunch of children. Nebuch, the Shliach, Gabi Al-Vasham, Hashem Yankanah, he was killed, and he took him over.
And his wife.
Yeah, him and his wife, they were both killed, and a few other Jewish people in the Chabad house. Very, very tragic. So this friend of mine moved there, and he has to like shech the chickens, kasher the chickens, milk the cows, host the guests there, run the minyanim. I don't know if it's every day when visitors come. And I meet him usually like every year or two. I meet him on the streets because he comes to the Chabad Knesset convention. And he's still like a bacher. He's like excited and he's passionate and he's running around. But beyond all the fun and games, it's really a lifetime. They say when a Chabad shliach moves to a community anywhere in the world, the first thing they should do is buy a burial plot because they're never leaving. Just be prepared for 120. They're never leaving.
Is it like draft picks where we'll trade, 2 Vancouver?
No. Dort du a sach in-house fighting. Weersigheid wie competitions, corruption.
Him to St. Lucia for island to be named later.
My wife and I, when we got married, decided that we're not moving away, but she considered, and she wanted to go on shlichus. When she started dating, she told the shadchan she wants to go on shlichus. The shadchan told her, this Izzy guy is amazing, blah, 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 and he's involved in a shul, so it's like a shlichus. She sold her into it. But a lot of people, they when they get married, they know that they're only going to date somebody that's going to go moving out on shlichus. So they go to kollel for a year.
That's a big question in Chabad.
You won't date somebody. If the girl grew up in a Chabad shlichus family, or she went to seminary and she decided she wants to go on shlichus, and that's what they convinced her that, and she herself decided, or the guy, the same thing. They're going to date. They're going to say, are you going on shlichus or not going on shlichus? It's a big thing.
And there are currently cities that don't have shluchim that they're looking to fill. How does that work?
So years ago in the 60s, 70s, 80s, when there were much less shluchim, you were able to Vancouver was available when Rabbi Weinberg moved in the 70s. I went for a summer to Hong Kong. So when Rabbi
He portrays Chabad as a phone group.
moved there in the
Somebody's got to do it.
70s, 80s, I don't know the exact years. Now there's like a bunch of shluchim in Hong Kong and China. I mean, you were able to probably look at a map and choose any country. You could get unlimited territory. Today, every major hub in the world has a shliach. So every big campus already got taken, and every big city.
Du a sach infighting dort. Hab mitgehalten abholen.
Now the shluchim are bringing shluchim under them. So my brother-in-law, Josh Gordon, when he moved to California in 74, he got the whole San Fernando Valley. McCunan is the head of California, and he gave him that area to be responsible.
Hold
so
the
he moved
line.
to Encino in 74. I believe the San Fernando Valley, I'm choosing this as an example because I go visit my sister a lot in California. So the San Fernando Valley, that part of California has about 30 shluchim.
Wow. Arbeitet 17 Jobs, plus futtert in der ganze Welt, visit jeden. I think his day has like 80 hours a day.
So now, all the good cities probably in the world.
How is it possible? It only has 24. Well, he wakes up earlier.
Well, I think it's so shluchim are taking cities with less and less Jews. So a lot of times I think shluchim today they're going like a campus, and they're doing like the local community. And then if they get really successful in one of them, they bring somebody else to work under them. I spent a Pesach in Tallahassee, Florida, when I was 18 years old for Rabbi Erichman. So Tallahassee is the capital of Florida. So he's involved with all the politics. And when shluchim come to the capital, I guess he hosts them, and he's involved with all the legislation and all the Chabad and opening up of the state senate, whatever it is, whatever. He's very involved. But one of the biggest universities, Florida State, is in Tallahassee. There's thousands of students. So we went there to help him for Pesach. We were giving out flyers for days to come to the Pesach Seders and to give them shmur matzah and to put on phone with them. And he put up a huge tent behind the Chabad house. I think we had about 300 students that came for the Pesach Seder. It's funny, it was a big eye-opening because you grew up in a frum community. The first Seder and the second Seder are the exact same. The same 4 questions. The first night we had 300 students. The second night I think we had like 20 people. It was like, hey, wait, where are they?
But there are Jews everywhere, right? Even if there are less Jews, maybe they don't live there, but Jews are passing through community colleges.
So Chabad centers around the world, there are Chabad houses that are only catering to tourists. When I went for a Sreigim with my brother-in-law, who used to be my partner in the Sreigim business, we went to Italy the first time we did it, and we spent Shabbos in Venice by Rabbi Rami. He had Friday night 400 people for my riv, and then he had 3 or 4 locations to eat. So the Chabad house, I think that's free. Like if you don't register, you still won't go hungry. But me and my brother-in-law, we registered, and he had 3 locations, a restaurant, and then we ate in the gallery. You pay for all 3 meals. And every single one of those, he's hosting hundreds of people on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. And him and his wife, they basically went on shluchas for tourists. I don't know how many Jews live in Venice. The whole Venice is like a couple of blocks. It's a tiny little city, but it's a big tourist attraction. It's probably one of the more popular places in Europe to go to. Stop by. Most people stop by for a day or two, and they move on to other islands or other parts of Europe. It's a huge tourist attraction. And he has a fleshik restaurant and a milchik restaurant and his Chabad house. And then he has boys there the whole year. They stop all the tourists. They put them on tefillin. They give the women Shabbos candles. It's word with people, chavrusas. It's a huge operation that's geared towards tourists. Then there's Chabad houses that go down to universities. There's shluchim that went to universities 50 years ago. I think Rabbi Slonim in Binghamton, New York. It's like a famous pioneer Chabad house. They went there probably in the 70s. They're still there. Probably their children and grandchildren. Already, I have no idea, but I think they already have like 3rd generation of doing Chabad house on these campuses.
Chabad of North Korea never took off, right?
The second they open up North Korea, there'll be a Chabad house there that day. There'll probably be fights to go to North Korea.
Probably from South Korea, the Chabad house will just, evolve.
They'll say that it's their territory. There'll probably be a Dentera, the usual.
Chabad of Taiwan. I have an idea, business idea.
Zeg eens door den teure. Wer se kennen Rosself en Weeman besser?
You're mentioning this, and we can do a joint venture. Chabad Shluchis trading cards. So you're spitting out these names without even thinking, right? We figure out how many core Chabad houses there are, who's the rabbi, how long they've been there since, put a nice AI picture of them, put their stats of how many people they feed. I think it can do well.
I think it could be huge. Baseball cards, trading cards, and I'm in the antiques Judaica business. Anything could go for money. The things that people throw away in Seamus, I literally pay my bills with.
So for those listening, I do see Izzy as a great piece of a partnership. Meaning, if someone approached you, right, and said, I put it all together. I'm working on a supplier in China. Here are the numbers. You'd be like, okay, great. I'm in. I'll help sell them.
Within
Right?
15 minutes, I would have it on my
I'll help sell them. En nog dem met er kan man zoeken aan mijn spensies al.
status. I would have it on my art broadcast. I have hundreds of people that are on my art broadcast that every single day I send out broadcasts of what I'm selling that day. One day it's a Megillah. Another day it's a menorah from the Holocaust time. The next day it's a rear Noam Elimelech that the Tasha Rebbe handed to
Okay, this is Tam peddling.
Chassid. I have videos, pictures. I sell stuff from Gedolim.
You're getting commission. This is someone else doing the sale.
I buy at auctions.
Ze doen de alte families, de alte Altaheim.
I buy from
Menschen.
individuals. I take things on consignment from Judaica dealers that don't know how to get rid of stuff. Every single day I post stuff on my WhatsApp status and on my broadcast. Anytime somebody wants to join my broadcast, I give them my phone number. I say, add me into your contacts. I add them to my broadcast list. I post it. It looks like an individual message. I put HD pictures, high res. I put all the details. I put how much money I'm charging it. I stamp everything that you can't share without me getting the credit. Everything is watermarked. I do this multiple times a day. I sell paintings from world famous artists. There's nothing I won't sell.
Love it. For someone who does have a...
All right. Ooh, okay. Whew. I need a... Now I'm all of a sudden a...
Oy, it is a victim.
Lass mal gehen wir machen Music Review. Just to geben mal so ein Stückel... wie sagt man? Rutzig man. But, ich darf geben Credit auf die erste Sache, was er gesagt hat, als der Spend